In this video we will be reviewing Naoe's canon outfits from Assassin's Creed Shadows. To clarify, this is not a comprehensive review of every outfit in the game, but a detailed exploration of the progression of Naoe's canon outfits throughout Shadows. One of my favourite aspects of Assassin's Creed Mirage was how Basim's outfit evolved as the story progressed, and he advanced through the ranks of the Brotherhood. I'm happy to report that this trend continues in AC Shadows, though it starts a few steps behind, as Naoe discovers the assassin lore and gradually becomes more recognisable as an assassin over time. In this discussion we will cover Naoe's canon outfit as presented in the marketing and promotional material, then we'll examine the evolution of her character as we move into her assassin and master assassin robes by the conclusion of the game. If you're interested in skipping to a specific outfit, timestamps will be provided below, and without further ado, let's begin. I think that the artists designing Naoe's outfit had a bit of a tough job on their hands here, and the final design of her Shinobi outfit does have an air of compromise to it. I believe this boils down to both the narrative direction of Naoe's character and the broader gameplay context regarding the game's gear and progression systems. Let's get into that one first. Like with most modern Assassin's Creed games, Shadows uses gear pieces instead of full outfit sets, and you'll find throughout your playthrough you'll be swapping out pieces of gear with a higher number very regularly. This was most apparent in AC Odyssey and was very quickly scaled back in AC Valhalla to be more traditional outfit sets. However, these were very rare to obtain during a playthrough of the main story. Shadows brings back the Odyssey method of gear, but with a lot more variety in the designs, and more intentional choices with the stats and buffs that certain pieces will give you. This leads to mean that Naoe's canonical outfit is not given to you during the story. It's not a full cosmetic set you can equip at any time. In fact, it serves the purpose of being a particular build or class, just like any of the other outfits in the game, and for that reason, it cannot accomplish all of the goals that assassin robes would typically expect to in the earlier games, like say AC3, where Connor's outfit needed to be practical for horse riding with his chaps, or proficient in combat with the thick leather coat, or stealthy with the hood and military uniform aesthetic. In a modern AC game, these elements would be broken up into separate outfits, and it's up to the player which direction they wish to lean into. Naoe's silhouette is carried across into most of her outfits, something that hasn't been achieved this well since AC Rogue. For example, Naoe has an outfit that makes her look more like a ninja and more proficient at stealth. An outfit for making her tools more proficient with extra knives and pouches on the design. Or a samurai outfit for combat encounters that gives Naoe extra shoulder armour and mobility in the design. With all of that achieved in her other outfits, it leaves her default robes with little remaining to make it stand out amongst the others. However, that's not the only element holding this back. If you looked at a blurred image of Naoe's design, you would see an assassin. The hood is there, the bracer with the hidden blade, the waist sash is red, and the coattails. Perfect. It's when you bring the outfit into focus that you start to see that these elements, whilst there, are also vague enough that they could also not be there, if that makes sense. This is where the story constraints come into play. In Assassin's Creed Shadows we play as a peasant who farms crops and learns how to fight from her father in the province of Eivor in order to defend it from the larger conflict that she has no control or much awareness of. Naoe is not an assassin. She never becomes an assassin formally until the very end of the game, and it's only in the third act that she even becomes aware of what her gifted hidden blade represents. This puts the designers in a terrible position. How do we promote our Assassin's Creed game without having an assassin on the cover? Do we go the route of Odyssey and Valhalla, where we just ignore them entirely in the marketing? Well, that would piss off the fans that just got a traditional AC game with Mirage. We don't want to lose that goodwill with those that we worked so hard to get back. So the result is Naoe's outfit, and now we can finally talk about my thoughts on it. This is the best we could have gotten. For story reasons, Naoe could not wear the traditional assassin robes, and from a gear perspective, she also couldn't look too much like a ninja or samurai to take away from any designs that lead more into a specific build the player may want to tap into. For this reason, Naoe could only have the red sash and a hood, with that in mind. We saw many early concepts of Naoe's design where the designers went to town creating one of the coolest looking designs for an assassin I think I've ever seen. However, it's one that only works in a vacuum. That's not to say that I dislike Naoe's outfit. I actually commend on what they were able to achieve with these limitations. The simplicity of the outfit, I think, works to its benefit and resembles the likes of Altair with the upper half, although I am not a fan of the hood. It's a very big hood by assassin standards, and it doesn't have any kind of presence without the beak there. It also doesn't even cover her face like Edward's or Shea's, making it seem a bit pointless. Although, I will say in some shots in the trailer, it resembles Altair's design, and that looks awesome. In the game, I have yet to use this hood in its Canon colour scheme. I've picked it up twice in this ugly blue colour, but it just doesn't seem to match the costume, and it emphasises how big and wide this hood is, which looks too open in my opinion. Also, it's just not good, is it? To have this Canon outfit that's been displayed throughout all of the promotional marketing, and it's a 50-50 chance whether you'll actually get it or not. The overall colour scheme is an odd one because in certain lights, it looks like a very nice dark shade of blue, but in most others, it just looks like an off grey or even black, but with the contrast turned down. That applies to the whole design. There's this gorgeous embroidered pattern of an eagle on Naoe's back, but it's quite difficult to see in practice, and I think it needed either brightening up or committing to it more and spreading the pattern across the entire design, because whilst it's a very nice inclusion, you'd only see on Japanese robes, they don't stand out as much as I think they were supposed to, especially if you rock the katana. You're going to be blocking it with the sheath almost all of the time. Even the bracer doesn't stand out too much, which is crazy because the design of the hidden blade is insanely detailed and gorgeous to look at. You can tell that, as the years have gone on, Ubisoft have had to get more creative with their designs, which probably has some correlation to the $89 one-to-one replica side-eyeing me on the Ubisoft store. Hidden blades have always been a fun bit of merch to get hold of, but it seems especially with Origins onwards, Ubisoft made a real effort to make these things a display piece for your shelf. Weirdly, I think this has bled over into the bracer designs getting more boring. Ubisoft know which way around you're going to display these in your cabinet, so they seem to have made the bracers more generic, except for Valhalla, but that was an exception due to the bracer being worn like a wrist blade. I think this bracer design is very boring compared to the blade underneath. It doesn't even carry over the bronze colour scheme, instead it's just based on metal. Same with the leg bracers too, although in that case I think they contrast the dark colour scheme better in gameplay and bring more attention to Naoe's feet, so you can see where you're running, and that's a much appreciated attention to detail. The blade design itself with the dragon head and the katana design may be a bit too crazy looking for my liking, but in the game it doesn't stand out too much, and I'm also very thankful to just get one of the long hidden blades back. I feel like the recent games have had very short hidden blades, whereas this one resembles much more the hidden blade designs of Ezio or Altair, and I'm a big fan of long hidden blades. I also appreciate the return of the pivot blade, not just being a gimmick, but properly integrated into Naoe's kit. I like that they didn't just copy a couple of Connor's animations and call it a day. Instead, it contrasts Connor in the way that he and Naoe use it so differently. In Connor's case, he would use the pivot blade to almost latch onto his opponents, and then use his raw strength to spin them around or yank them away. In comparison, Naoe uses the pivot blade for positioning, tripping up her enemies in bushes and quickly pulling them away into the darkness. In fact, it's less for combat in general, as Naoe uses her tanto for that instead, and the hidden blade gets used much like a traditional AC2 blade during the flurry of attacks. This goes a long way to making her hidden blades stand out more in the franchise, because now I can look at this design and remember all the creative ways it was used in my playthrough, and how that's enforced by the nifty reincorporation of a past mechanic. Now it's time to talk about those coattails. I've been waiting for this. There's not a single outfit in this game that moves badly. Seriously, I've been majorly impressed with the cloth physics in Shadows, and it's a huge step up from Valhalla and Mirage. The only times I've had some weird clipping was due to the weapons I had equipped, but that wasn't a hindrance to the gameplay, and yet, no legacy outfits. Naoe's coattails are made up of a few separate layers that all move individually, and for all people who have talked about how fast Naoe runs in the game, nobody comments on how much the cloth is selling this feeling of motion. They go for a rave every time she moves. Some outfits are absolutely uncontrollable, it's fantastic. Naoe's coattails are just long enough to sell that feeling of movement, but not long enough to obscure her legs so you can still see where you're placing your feet during parkour. Making them shorter also emphasises Naoe's shorter height compared to the previous protagonists. She even has a grey belt around her waist and then the red waist sash, making her torso look even shorter to further convince you that she is a smaller, faster and more nimble character, as opposed to just being scaled down or up like the larger enemies in this game. So I ended up enjoying this outfit in gameplay, although it is one of the more plain outfits in the game. It serves its purpose well for marketing to existing fans and fans that want a more traditional, stealth-focused outfit, as opposed to the social stealth that Assassin's Creed was known for, and I think in that regard, it works very well. I'm a bit disappointed that her peasant outfit from her flashbacks is not incorporated into this design, however. That was a missed opportunity to show her evolution through the design. It's such a simple thing, but again, referring back to Connor kept his chaps from his first design, which reinforced more that this is the same character from that earlier part of the game, and he keeps that part of his roots with him on his journey. Naoe could have heavily benefited from some of the elements of her farming outfit carrying over into her final design. However, I will say that even though her outfit doesn't carry across, the kurosagama is an example of a weapon that would have been fashioned from Japanese farming tools, and so I do appreciate that in some respect that was carried across. During Naoe's investigation of an assassin tomb, she uncovers a set of assassin robes and nicks off with them. This gives Naoe an actual set of assassin robes in the game, and it's connected to the main story, so this is a set that Naoe canonically obtained. Whilst the game does have some frankly very impressive outfit sets that resemble assassin robes, this set is the only white and red we get in the game. Now this feels a lot more at home. The beaked hood is incredible, creating a great silhouette that hides Naoe's face in the game, as all good hoods should be able to. The hood is still a bit wide for my liking, which looks especially odd considering the closer upper portion, but I guess they were going for more of an Ezio look anyway. The overall design is very symmetrical, which I thought was a bit odd at first for me, and especially the lack of triangle shapes on the upper half compared to the likes of Ezio make Naoe look a lot less threatening and dangerous, but I can see what they've chosen to go for here, with long, thin pieces instead to make her look more proportional with her height, giving her the illusion of being taller and maybe more experienced than how she did in her Shinobi outfit. I think the waist sash connecting to the logo is a nice piece of realism. I appreciate the effort to make it fit in for this realistic take that Shadows goes for. Hello, just a little editor's note to throw in here. So this is actually the first time that the Assassin logo has been on the belt since AC3. A couple of the outfits in Unity, like some of the gear pieces, had the Assassin logo on the waist sash, but this is like the first time since AC3 that an official set of robes has had the logo on it, and God, I mean, time just flies. I had no idea it had been that long, but yeah, very, very happy to see it back. The arms are now fully covered too, and there's a lot more straps on Naoe's arms, which I think, again, is an illusion to make her look broader. The braces are also different, but Naoe's blue piece of fabric has become red, which is the only element of her design that's carried across here. I understand this is not an outfit that Naoe made, so it shouldn't have her character design elements carry over, but it's still a design that the artists made for Naoe to wear during the story, so I wouldn't have minded maybe a bit more crossover or an evolution there. For example, the eagle on her back in red would have really stood out much more on this design, as opposed to the blue and gold one on her Shinobi design, but it gets replaced with a recurring pattern of what looks to be the Shadows loading screen, and it just looks a bit too busy, especially when paired with a plain white hood. The coattails are also unique, as it's two separate triangular pieces of fabric on top of a big square piece that has a chunk taken out, which kind of resembles the McFarlane suit from Unity, and in motion, I do like it, but I think I've become so accustomed to the two separate pieces of fabric that this kind of looks out of place. Don't get me wrong, it's animated perfectly, it moves like a bigger, heavier connected piece of fabric would, but I think I would have personally liked something a bit more layered like her Shinobi design. I get what they were going for with this shoulder piece, likely a callback to Ezio's shoulder pieces from his trilogy, but I don't think it quite gets across the same look, and although being historically accurate the way it's positioned, it does kind of look like they didn't know what the costume was missing, so they just slapped a bit of armour on from another design and called it a day. What's funny as well is that underneath there are these leather shoulder pieces that are nearly identical to Xiao Yun's outfit, which is what they should have stuck with in my opinion. The entire suit is a collective of different white textures apart from the red sash in the middle, and there aren't any red accents here even when you can see exactly the outlines where they'd go, and it's because this outfit is entirely red on the inside of the coattails and hood. And it's going to be incredibly subjective as to whether you prefer the aggressively white outfit with the red on the inside waiting to spill out, or if you'd have preferred an outfit with a bit more contrast throughout the entire design, but for foreshadowing alone, I think this works as a great midpoint. However, there is one outfit left, as at the end of the game, Hattori Hanzo gifts Naoe a set of Master Assassin robes. Now, before you get too excited at the idea of this being some culmination of the designs we'd seen prior, maybe a combination of fully formed version of Naoe's Shinobi robes with the assassin influences on full display, fully bringing it into focus. Well, unfortunately that's not the case, it's just a shiny red and, well, I was going to say yellow, but it's kind of like a light brown with blue accents version of the assassin robes. It's a little bit busy, with a strange combination of colours here, but it also has some patterns that make it stand above the previous design. The blue is a very strange addition, which could be a callback to her Shinobi robes, either the blue strap on her arm or the overall colour scheme, but honestly, I just don't know, and I don't like it on this design. I think this design should have honestly done the whole thing in red, with maroon for the straps and then gold highlights around the coattails and the lining of the brown parts on her current design, just to make it a bit more streamlined and still have that Master Assassin status with the gold. The red, however, does look amazing. It's got a great glossy sheen to it that feels endgame level as a reward without making it look out of place in the lore, and the rest of the design is still that great incorporation of the white and red robes. The funny thing about this design is that I think universally everyone agrees that the best version is just the one that's all black that you can get in the open world, and honestly, I have to agree. Although my favourite outfit in this game for Naoe would be the AC2 Ezio style one with the shorter coattails that are layered and a sick half cape that moves, well, like a cape in the wind. I like Naoe's initial design. It feels like a natural starting point for the character and has room to grow and evolve from quite basic and not very eye-catching to something a bit more distinct. I also like the assassin robes. They're a nice traditional set that look the part and do exactly what they say on the tin. The problem is the cohesion between the two designs. It just isn't there, and of course, I know people are going to say that I shouldn't compare them, but I'd argue that the game makes it more comparable with how they are introduced in the story. It feels like Naoe's Shinobi persona and assassin persona are separate from one another in the progression of Naoe's outfit in Assassin's Creed Shadows. I still hope that in the DLC, the Claws of Awaji, or maybe future, we get a version of Naoe's outfit that has the same basic design, but with all that untapped potential heightened. Or perhaps a concept art version of the suit is released, akin to Arno's fearless suit from Unity. One can only hope. I do feel like in terms of my overall ranking of the main character designs in this franchise, which I still haven't made a video on, Naoe's outfit is, yes, well designed, but it doesn't stand out enough, even compared to Yasuke's, to become truly iconic. But what do you think of Naoe's design in AC Shadows? Let me know in the comments. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe if you enjoyed. Let me know if you'd like to see longer breakdowns on individual outfits in the future, and I will see you in the next video.